think I heard a statistic that we have about 3 to 4 seconds between clicking a link and it loading. If it doesn't load within that time, there's going to be a higher rate of bounce, just because we have the attention span of a goldfish.
If your site doesn't load, in like the first 3 seconds, kiss any sales leads goodbye.
How's it going, everybody? It's Gene Villanose here from the PPC Cave, and we're joined with Ryan. Say hello, Ryan.
Hello, Ryan.
Hello, Ryan. Yeah, Ryan is back with. We're great. Ryan is back. We're doing an episode together, and it's actually episode 67, and you'll hear both of our takes this time. It's definitely been a busy summer. Ryan, how's your summer, the last few weeks, months? How's that been going for you?
Yeah, not too bad. Weather over here is kind of mixed, but it's been really nice here in the UK for the most part. So it's just been nice to, I was saying this to somebody else that I think the weather has a huge has a huge impact on your mood. When it's winter over here, it's dark, it's cold, and, it really has a huge impact. So, when it's nice, it really lightens the mood. So that's been nice just to do that. And, yeah, really good. Just kind of reflecting at the moment, really looking at the year as a whole and, what I've been doing and looking at new ways to take my business to the next level. So I'm not going to go into too much of that at the moment, but at the moment it's just a lot of reading, a lot of research, a lot of reflecting, and yeah, it's good stuff. How about you? How's your summer going and how have you been?
Yeah, the summer is great. It's almost July 4th. So next week will be July 4th. I'll be going to Oklahoma, very country, small town. And it's called Ardmore, to go visit my father-in-law, set off a couple of fireworks, have some grilled steaks, and just be outside a little bit more in the beautiful Oklahoma heat. So, yeah, man, I can't complain. Everything is nice and peachy over here.
Didn't the Thunder just win the championship as well?
Oh boy, yes, the Thunder did just win. The thing that I want to say about this topic is I'm glad that it is a team that hasn't won one in a while or ever, I think. So that's good. But just to have the small big brother or little brother, the smaller little brother, forgotten stepchild of that area, because Dallas to Oklahoma City is about only 2 to 3 hours away, I think. Don't quote me on that. It just sucks, that we couldn't make it. But hey, we can't be winners all the time. Congrats, OKC. What are your thoughts, Ryan? Why, since we're on this quick topic of the NBA Finals?
Yeah, I've not really followed the NBA this season. I think the Celtics kind of got burnt out quite quick. And I noticed there's a few trades going on with the Celtics. Drew Holiday has been traded, I think. There's been some talks of ownership changes. It seems like a real big mix-up, almost similar to how I'm doing at the moment with with my own business. But there's a huge mix-up at the moment with the Celtics. So it's just been a bit of a weird season for us. But, congrats to OKC Thunder. I think, I remember when they had I can't remember the Splash Brothers, weren't they OKC, or am I thinking of someone else?
Yeah, that's they had Kevin Durant, James Harden, Westbrook.
Yeah. So I remember, Westbrook. Yeah, I remember when those guys were winning the championship then, but yeah, it's that's like ages ago now because I'm super old. So that's probably like 50 years ago. I don't even know. But yeah, congrats to them. They deserve it, I guess, and we'll see what happens next year and next season. Yeah, I think we've got the World Cup coming up. I think. Do you kind of get into soccer at all, or I know you used to play a little bit of FIFA.
I definitely, if it's anything World Cup, Olympics, it becomes a bigger deal. I'm not a big Premier League Championship league guy, but when the World International definitely is something on my radar. So excited for that.
So what about like with baseball and they call it the World Series? How does that like? I don't understand with that. Like why isn't it like the US
Yeah, I'm not.
series or the national series or something?
Yeah, that is a debate. That's the same debate where people say that the NBA is technically the world championship or the world champions if you're an NBA champion. That's there's an American answer to that, and then there's a more humble answer to that. Maybe that'll be a different episode for sure.
No,
But
that's
yeah, that
cool.
is a good question because I know a lot of people don't see the U.S. being like that's not the world. Obviously it's
Yeah.
not just the US. So yeah, reeling it back to what we want to talk about, even though dude, we're talking like this because we haven't talked to each other in so long, so that's why, you guys,
Like, hey,
y'all are
how's it
getting
going?
the real. Yeah, this is how we talk as friend. Like this, Ryan is my friend, so this is how we talk. So sorry, apologies, but this is also good for y'all listening out there that we actually have real chemistry because we're actually friends. So, but getting back to Google Ads, our title for this episode is three on-site fixes to boost Google Ads conversions. And what we mean about on-site fixes is essentially stuff outside of your Google Ads account that you can do or edit or better to improve your actual in-account conversions on your Google Ads account. So yeah, let's just kick it off real quick. And this is both for lead gen and e-commerce. And I'll ask about Ryan's thoughts here. Tip one is speed up your site. I think I heard, I'm not sure if this is still relevant, but I think I heard a statistic that we have about 3 to 4 seconds between clicking a link and it loading for the person that's actually clicking the link and looking at the website to understand that they are on the correct website. And if it doesn't load within that time, there's going to be a higher rate of bounce, just because we have the attention span of a goldfish. So speeding up your site. Ryan, what are your thoughts just generally about this first tip?
Yeah, I think we're in 2025 now, and if your site doesn't load, in like the first 3 seconds, you haven't really got a chance of getting that sale, getting that lead. It's crucial that your like site loads instantly, or as instant as it can be wherever you're searching from. So yeah, site speed is I think it should be a given now. It should be guaranteed that you need it to load quick. If it doesn't, then you can kiss any sales leads goodbye. They're going to go on to the next competitor, next website. It needs to load fast. That's all I can say. It's not like oh yeah,
Yeah,
it'd be good if you could and improve it. It's like no, it needs to load fast. Even me, I'm a
exactly.
marketer and things like that. If the website doesn't load after 5 seconds, I'm closing. I'm going somewhere else. So it's ruthless, but it's true.
Absolutely. If, like Ryan said, it doesn't load fast, I'm not only gonna leave your website, but even if I get retargeted, I'm probably not gonna come back because I'm really like, that website was whack. That was way too slow, especially on mobile. Now that Google indexes mobile first, as we've known in the last couple of years, meaning the weight of your mobile experience is more than your desktop in aggregate. I think that's just super important to hit the benchmarks of under 3 seconds. And you could check this by going to Google Page Speed Insights, or if you're on Shopify, your Shopify native speed score, you could compare that to each other and just kind of see the gist, even yourself. Is my site loading fast enough? Because if it doesn't, be prepared to have a bounce rate that's higher. And we all know what a bounce rate that's higher can do on your Google Ads campaign in general. That's not a good reflection of how to get more conversions. So, yeah, that's our first tip. Moving forward, do you have any last thoughts before we move to the next tip, Ryan?
No, I think this is great. I think that there's nothing really else to say on that. You need
Yeah.
a fast site really at the end of the day. But I think if we kind of go through them like one by one and recap at the end, I think that could be kind of cool. But I think I like the
Yeah.
pace we're going at.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll definitely recap just because these things are, in my opinion, super dense, even though it seems very like, oh, yeah, this is what you should do, speed up your site. There is still some nuances that we could definitely fill in the gaps for. But yeah, moving to the next tip is improve product page or landing page if you're in lead gen trust signals. Improve product page trust signals or landing page. And I think what I mean by this is, do you have trusted badges when they land on your website? You know, SSL, maybe a money back guarantee, maybe even just your review widgets. You know, a lot of people love to put review widgets on an e-commerce website all the way on the bottom and not sticky, meaning sticky as in like when you scroll, it'll still be in a visible above the fold way that the person actually looking at a website can see. So if you have trust signals, but they're all the way on the bottom and they're not sticky, you're expecting someone to scroll either on their phone or desktop multiple times to see that. You could really save yourself that hassle to just either have it sticky on the top or above the fold on the left side or right side, but just sticky, meaning it'll still show up. They don't have to scroll all the way down to see that. I think that is one thing that you could definitely do to improve, your conversions, is just to have your trust signals visible so it doesn't hide any key info. Any thoughts on that, Ryan?
Yeah, absolutely. And I would take it one step further and say, if it's lead gen, for example, do you have any associations that you are joined in? Is the client joined in certain, like, I think there's BBVA, which is
Yeah.
something business bureau association. I think, I don't know. Am I wrong? I'm not
Yeah.
sure. Um, so yeah, they've got things like that. You've got whatever, like the local or the national type of associations that you're registered in, certified, insured in, things like that can all help. So having
Mhm.
those badges on the website is good. And also try to minimize as much as possible any AI or stock photos. I think, are you going to
Yes.
convert on a site or a landing page where there's a ton of stock photos? Maybe not, but if you see that it's a mom and pop store, or if you see that, there's a picture of the guy's van, if they're like pest control or plumbing or something like that, picture of the team or the guy's doing a job, like a before and after is usually good. All of this coupled with reviews and things like that, and what Gene was saying, like money back guarantees and badges, all of this goes towards building trust and confidence between you as the business and them as the lead or the buyer, potential customer, whatever it is. So look to use real life images before, after. Look to use association badges and things like that you're joined in, certifications, as well as I also like as featured in. Maybe the client has been featured in an article like Forbes or Vogue or something like that. You could say as seen in, as featured in. All of this is just going to help build that trust and credibility and confidence.
That's a beautiful point, especially for the lead gen, just because Ryan has a lot more lead gen experience than me. And I actually went through this not too long ago with a client. One of my lead gen clients didn't have a certification for a service that they were having me, run ads for. And I told him straight up, I was like, okay, like you are in a niche where 4 or 5 competitors have a specific certification for the training that you're essentially wanting to run ads on. The fact that I'm seeing the keyword that we're searching for plus certification, that means that you don't have enough trust or credibility to get that conversion. Why would they go with someone that doesn't have that when there are 4 or 5 different competitors that have certifications, readily available. So that's one huge one. Is any associations here is called the BBB, the Better Business Bureau. I know it's probably different in the UK, but yeah, or even smaller organizations. I know I have a water filter company. It's called the Water Quality Association. So things like that, just to be on your website, as Ryan mentioned, is such a huge help to let the person know that's searching, hey, this is a reputable website and I am not going to get spammed or scammed if I give this website my information. Perfect. Yeah, so we could just move on to the next tip, email marketing. So this is something that I would also consider for lead gen, and maybe Ryan could take the lead gen part and add on to the e-commerce part of this. But one way to boost Google Ads conversions is to make sure that we have a follow-up email saying, hey, you abandoned your cart. You clicked from a Google Ads thing and you didn't go all the way and, put your information in. It would be such a waste if we are paying for that click, but your e-commerce setup doesn't have a abandoned or begin checkout email sequence. That could definitely increase conversions and, have people come through PPC and then tie it back up with an actual conversion, through an abandoned cart or begin checkout. So email marketing is something that we can do. Do you have any tips for, lead gen or anything to add on the e-commerce email marketing side, Ryan?
I used to do a lot of email marketing specifically through MailChimp. So I do have a lot of experience in that, and most of it was for lead generation. And a lot of the times it was to promote a blog article. So, the client had written a news article or a blog article, and they wanted to showcase that. Kind of like a bit of a magazine thing or like a newspaper, like, hey, we've just written this and, this is hot in the industry at the moment. Come and take a look. And, for people that are in the industry, maybe it's interesting for them to go through and have a read of that if it sums up what people are feeling at the moment or are thinking. Also, new product launches and things like that, or new service launches or any promotions or things like that. Also, when you've got like news articles that are, the client has written, or if it's new services or promotions or anything like that. And a really good one for email marketing I found was events. The clients that I'm specifically talking about would often host like coffee mornings or events, or there would be a big event that everybody's going to and they want to get like a what do you call it? Like a guest list, I guess, or like a showcaser list or something like that. Like, hey, we're going to be exhibiting here. Come see us and things like that. Let us know if you're interested. Write your name or just respond to this email or something like that and collect that. And then over time, you can send more targeted email marketing towards the people that are going, and that worked really well. As well as just general, like, business updates. Like we used to send a lot of Christmas, like New Year, opening times, closing time type of emails, So yeah, I don't know what the market is looking like at the moment for email marketing, because for me, I've not done it in years, but back then it was pretty hot. I don't know if people have stopped doing email marketing as much as they have, and if so, maybe there's an opportunity. There's a big opening up. It's not as saturated as it once was. So yeah, I definitely think maybe email marketing still has a place. Gene will be able to answer it better than I think he does more email marketing, but yeah, I think it's a cool tool to use if you've got the right audience. Because I get a lot of spam and I don't like it, so I just unsubscribe. So yeah.
Yeah. I think Ryan, that was a lot of gems, especially from the lead gen perspective. And I think email marketing is still a huge part of just your digital marketing stack. It's gotten more advanced, I feel like, in regards to what I use. I mean, with Klaviyo, I haven't really had much MailChimp experience, but I use Klaviyo and I just love the segmentation that I can, push a bunch of emails to people that actually are interested about this. And as Ryan was talking about, for e-commerce is pretty straightforward. hey, reminder, quick reminder, that you forgot something in your checkout, abandoned cart, begin checkout. Give them a discount code, straight off the bat. Give them a discount code to try to get to, that checkout. But with lead gen, a lot of it does come to the fact that maybe you need to have multiple touch points of education. What better, way to do that than have someone sign up for the newsletter, continually engage them through education, and then maybe you'll get that opt-in or call or whatever it may be, whatever you consider a conversion as a lead gen account. So yeah, I think that's perfect. So moving on to tip 4 is streamline your checkout, or in this case, your submit form user experience. And with e-commerce, as we know, if you've ever listened to a podcast and one of their sponsors is Shopify, they're going to say Shopify checkout is the best checkout ever for e-commerce. And maybe that's true just because it's one page and a couple fields, but learning to optimize your checkout, for e-commerce, or your landing page for your submit form is super important. One thing that you could do is do not overcomplicate the fields, either on e-commerce checkout or lead gen. If we're asking for social security, your home address, your gate password, that's a little too much information. We got to be as easy, maybe an email, maybe your name. Obviously, if you're checking out in e-commerce, your credentials for your credit card number. But I think this has gone with how privacy is in the last five years. We want to be as seamless and simple as possible when we're exchanging information, either on a checkout or a opt-in. Even with e-commerce, make sure there's express checkouts. Make sure we have Shop Pay, PayPal, Apple Pay. A lot of the time people don't have their physical credit cards on them. They want a way where they could just log in, because it's easier to remember a login and password than it is a X amount of digit credit card number. So the fewer clicks, usually the better conversion rate. It'll reduce distractions, eliminate unnecessary steps. And yeah, also make sure that your abandoned cart recovery has a backup, in case they leave. And just like we mentioned earlier, that can just be sent to them through email and they don't have to re-input any of the information. Any thoughts on this tip, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm going to take it for lead gen a little bit further.
Yeah.
And I actually think it's niche dependent, industry dependent. If you're a plumber, for example, or HVAC, yeah, just grabbing the name, their email address, their number, maybe not even their email address. That's all you really need to call that person back quick and find out what the issue is. But if there's a certain level of, you get just like low quality calls and leads come through all the time, you need to start filtering that out as much as possible, pre-qualify where possible. So add additional questions like, I to try and give a bit of a insight, I guess let's stick with plumbers. It's like, okay, what is the issue? Is it bathroom? Is it kitchen? Is it sink? Is it faucet? Is it what could it be, or whatever? So getting a little bit more specific on that, and then that gives the engineer a bit more information on what it could be. So pre-qualifies the person that is signing up, because now we have a physical issue at hand, and the engineer is a little bit more ahead of the game before the call. They can start advising, okay, well, you need to go to your kitchen, you need to do this, or whatever it might be. So pre-qualifying where possible, so adding additional questions can help. Like, so some people might say, well, we just want the like, I don't know, like a new aircon unit. Okay, well, maybe do you want that now, or do you want it in 7 days? Do you want it 2 weeks from now? So maybe even adding a time range, like, is it urgent, or can it wait a couple of weeks? So just pre-qualifying where possible with additional questions can help go from a shitty lead to a high quality lead. So that's all I'd say on that. And I do that a lot for my clients. I like to add a lot of pre-qualifiers in there, just so that they're not just getting anyone who's like, oh, I saw your ad on Google. Do you sell HVAC units? It's like, no, we're not a manufacturer, we're not a supplier, we fix HVAC. You know what I mean? Something like that. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely a good point, especially for lead gen, is you're going to get a lot of spam. You're going to get a lot of confused people if we don't have these things to kind of set apart the people that are serious about the actual service, or even if they are serious, but they're not the right customer for you. Maybe you have only premium services and they're not looking for that. Yeah. So I definitely agree with Ryan to just be a little bit more, not only streamlined with your landing page, but also make sure that there are qualifying terms or conditions on there to give you the best possible type of conversion. Because even though this episode is to get more conversions, we also want to get conversions that'll lead to actual, something like an action, not just someone looking for a job or spam. So, yeah, that's essentially all we have, but we do have one bonus tip. And this is primarily for e-commerce, but if Ryan figures out a way to kind of mold this for lead gen, that works too. But one is a bonus to increase Google Ads conversions outside of doing things on your Google Ads account is, do you have any type of post purchase, upsell, cross sell to increase that average order value? I'm going to give my good friend and my old podcast host, Jake, a shout out. He does a really good job of doing this. He'll do a Jake clap. He'll do a little bit of after the purchase, he'll have a separate page. I think it's where with a timer, and it said, "Hey, you have 15 minutes to get this deal because you're gonna need this regardless for what you just purchased," and it just counts down and gives a little bit of a discount code. So I think any cross sell, upsell, post purchase, or even on the checkout itself can really increase your conversions. That's outside of Google Ads. Any thoughts on that, Ryan, or any ways to do that on lead gen?
We'll definitely have to get Jake on an episode at some point, and maybe even like discuss sports as well, and bring back that whole. I still want to bring back that old podcast. Something about it for me, it was really special.
We'll do a bonus.
Yeah. I think timings work really well, especially like if you're going to a concert, if you're going to an event and you want to save the seats or something like that, you might see you've got 5 minutes, you've got 10 minutes to book your seats or whatever. It works really well because you have urgency then to get it done. You want to reserve your seats. You don't want them to start all over again and someone else get them. So that can work really well. I think it can look really bad if it's badly done. So be careful when doing that. But yeah, in terms of lead generation, it's easy. I'm going to shout out my friend Damien Damo for this one and use his business as an example. Pressure washing, okay, he comes out and it's like, yeah, okay, let's do your, your driveway or whatever it is, let's clean that. But also, do you need your roof doing? Maybe your roof hasn't been done ever and needs really cleaning. What about all the guttering and things like that? Has it got a load of crap in there that needs cleaning out? What about the sides of your walls? What about, the garage or whatever? So he can upsell, he can cross sell, we've got the basic cleaner, but we've got the more advanced cleaner if you want to do that. We can suck all of the crap out of the gutters for you if you want to pay for that. We can give you an inspection video so you can see firsthand what we found when cleaning your roof, when cleaning your gutters, and how clean it looks now. So before and after. So there's many different upsells and cross sells that you can do for lead generation, service-based businesses, and things like that. So yeah, have a think for your own, if you are a business owner listening to this, what you could potentially look to offer additional to. I can get it done, let's say in, the typical waiting time is or the typical job time is 8 hours, 12 hours, something like that. But if you pay additional, maybe we can get it done in a day. We don't have to come back or whatever it could be. So have a think, but that's a good way, I think, of cross-selling services and upselling services in lead gen.
Perfect. Yeah. I mean, you heard it here from Ryan. You can definitely do a lot of things outside of just Google Ads itself to make sure that you not only retain conversions, but either the conversion value or number of conversions, on the end of the journey, I guess, is definitely optimized there on that side and that end. Yeah. Any final thoughts before we sign off here, Ryan?
No, just a really good episode again from us. Pat ourselves on the back. But in all
Yeah.
seriousness, we can all get bogged down. We can all blame Google Ads. Why are we not getting conversions? Why is it not bringing us leads and sales all the time, right? But at the end of the day, at some point, and this is something I learned from Gene probably early on, is that, if we look at what Google Ads is, right, you are bidding on keywords, you are putting ad copy out there on a search engine. People are using Google to search for everything, products, services, whatever it is, right? You're advertising. You're not generating sales or leads at that point. You're just purely advertising. You're getting quality traffic, or at least traffic through from Google to your website, in the hopes that they will call you, in the hopes that they will convert, buy a product, whatever it might be. So that is all Google Ads is at the end of the day. We can only manage keyword performance, budgets, bidding strategies, things like that. Ultimately, I'm losing my voice. What it comes down to is speed of service, is reviews, is quality of offering, your offer in general, pricing, delivery times, trust, confidence, certifications, accreditations, all that kind of stuff. So everything combined, even branding, all happens outside of the Google Ads ecosystem and platform. So we can't always just say, oh, ran Google Ads, it didn't work for us. That's just like an excuse. You really need to look within and say, is the branding on point? Is the pricing competitive? Is the delivery speed of service competitive? Do we have really bad reviews? Is something like the website, is it not loading fast? Is the checkout bad? Are we not qualifying the traffic? So don't just blame Google Ads, but look inward at many different things that it could be. Maybe it's not even that. Maybe you could take it one step further. Who's answering the phone calls when a lead calls up? Is it a sales team? Is it just some guy who you're paying who doesn't really care and is not going to give the best customer service, and they lose the lead and they go to a competitor? You really have to look inward, and there's only so much you can do to blame Google Ads and the budget you're using. But again, that's a business decision in terms of how much money you want to invest in Google Ads. If you're saying, well, let's just spend £10, $10 per day, probably not going to get it done. But if you're more realistic and you say, okay, let's spend $70 to $80 or pounds per month per day, you're on a lot better kind of like a good starting point going forward, I think. Kind
Yeah.
of a bit of a mishy-mashy answer there, all over the place. No rhyme or reason or
No,
structure there, but hopefully it made sense.
made sense to me, and it definitely made sense to me. And I think that's a good final last thought, with episode 67, how to get more conversions on site or out of the Google Ads account. And I think this proves that, with what we do, we understand the holistic approach of a full digital marketing stack, advertising stack. And, if you can't get them through a direct search through PPC ads, you should have other things in place to provide that credibility, or that check-in through email, whatever it may be, to get that conversion. So, yeah, where can they find you, Ryan, if they want your services?
Yeah, you can find me, Ryan Fenton, ppc.co.uk. How about you?
Tempest59.com. And the referral code, or not referral code, but the referral still stands. If you have a client that isn't a current client of me and Ryan, and you refer them and they sign up for a month, we'll give you $100 or €100, or no, what is it called?
Pounds.
What is it called over there? Pound. It's 2 p.m. here, so I'm kind of dozing off. But yeah, so that is
100
still
rupee.
in effect. 100 rupee, 100 Monopoly bucks. But yeah, we will always be here, 12 a.m. Mountain Time on Spotify video, YouTube, and you could catch us on social media, IG, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, and even LinkedIn, even though we haven't been doing that much, and Reddit, haven't been doing that much there. But well, yeah, we'll continue to pop these out. Just, give us a little bit of motivation here, some likes, some subscriptions, some comments, because it does take a lot of our time away from what really makes us money. Not to say that we don't like it, but me and Ryan are entrepreneurs, so we're always going to put that money first. We're going to, be able to feed our table, put food on the table for our families first,
People
just because
hungry.
that is the yes, that is the goal. But yeah, we love doing this, and if there's nothing else, then bye for now.